Next bout is between Islam Makhachev and Dan Hooker at 155 pounds. And this is a fight that you guys have got to be pumped up for. I mean, Dan Hooker's just a fucking gangster, too, accepting this fight against a guy that nobody at 155 pounds wants to fight, right? So Dan Hooker takes a short notice fight against Nasrat Haqparast, beats up on him, picks up a decision win, and then he's stepping in to fight Islam Makhachev on this fucking, I guess it's not a pay-per-view, right? It's a numbered card, though. And Islam Makhachev, man, one of the scariest guys in the division without a doubt. I think that he has, when you look at his striking and what he's able to do, I think that he is more advanced and way more smooth on the feet than Khabib ever was. But I don't think that the level of control is there in the grappling. It's when he grabs, it's hard to fucking say that, right? Because when you look at what he does to guys, when he gets them down, he really does dominate them, right? But I just think that there's like something about the way Khabib progresses through things and his understanding of positions and everything. I think Khabib just has a better sense of control on the ground. He leaves less space and sets traps a little bit better. I just think his grappling's a little more advanced. But I think Islam Makhachev is a little bit better on the feet. So he's able to hang with guys a little bit better in that department. And he's able to offer up offense, which really ends up complementing his wrestling, which is this. We were just talking in the previous fight about how I think Marcin Tybura will have trouble landing, so his takedowns won't be as successful. Islam Makhachev is a guy who's very talented at striking as well, and he has good kicks and everything like that. Like, you can get a high kick up there and it doesn't look awkward the way Khabib threw it. You know what I mean? So Islam can do those kind of things that make the takedown entries more available for him, because guys have to worry about this other element of his game. I think that's what makes Islam so scary. I think that if Islam just strictly had like the current grappling skill set that he has now, he would be a problem for most people in that division. But it's the fact that his striking is pretty sound as well. It's not the strongest part of his game. The grappling is where he wants to be, but it's good enough that I think against a guy like Dan Hooker, he's going to be able to stand with him, right? I'm not saying he's going to win all of those striking exchanges, but he's going to be able to offer up offense. The thing for Dan Hooker is going to have to be, in my opinion, he's got to, and this is how Dan Hooker fights too. This is what makes this matchup interesting. I know that Islam Makhachev is a big favorite, and in my opinion, I'll tell you right now, guys, I'm picking Islam Makhachev. I think he probably wins the fight. I think that when you can fucking wrestle and strike, it's a bad combo, and I think he's a way better wrestler than Dan Hooker is, right? So I'm picking Islam Makhachev to win this fight. The reason that it's interesting, though, and Dan Hooker, the reason that he could win, and this is a fight he really could win. Like, there's a possibility that Dan Hooker wins this fight. More than a possibility, I would say. Like, he could do this. Like, Dan Hooker has to fight with relentless pressure, and he has to keep Islam Makhachev on the back foot, and he has to constantly be using volume. One of the things that makes me really nervous, though, is that one of the best weapons for Dan Hooker is the knee that he throws. And if he's going to be closing the space like that, when you throw knees, you elevate a leg, and Islam Makhachev is going to jump all over that shit, right? It's not going to be like he was landing them successfully against Dustin Poirier, which is another high-level guy that Dan Hooker fought, and by the way, was busting him up early in the fight. Like, Dan Hooker has some fucking high-level striking, guys. The problem is going to be how do you apply this pressure against Islam Makhachev that you're going to need to keep him on the back foot without establishing a connection to him, right? There are going to be moments in a fight, no matter what, where you're going to have to he's going to get his arms around you. You're going to have to frame off him and defend things. That's part of fucking fighting. But you can't overcommit to something that's going to allow him to grab one of your legs and isolate it or elevate you in any way or get his hands locked around your body. That's going to be the challenge for Dan Hooker. I think that Dan Hooker's fighting style actually lends itself pretty well up until the space closes too much. Like, I think Dan Hooker is going to have to stay in the face of Islam Makhachev, and he's going to have to do so without subjecting himself to the possibility for a takedown, right? And I think that's going to be very difficult. I do think that Dan Hooker is levels above Islam Makhachev on the feet in terms of understanding footwork and positioning and when to throw strikes and how to set traps, all that stuff. I just think that the wrestling is going to make the biggest difference. And I think Islam is going to be competent enough to hang out on the feet long enough to set his takedown attempts up, right? But like I said, for Dan Hooker, you have to keep him on the back foot. You have to keep hitting him with shots. You have to keep throwing volume. And you have to make it so that his takedowns are readable. You're able to get a read on what he's doing, right? If he's able to mix up his strikes and stuff and you're letting him do that to you, you're going to be fucked because he's going to be able to do whatever he wants. So you have to keep him on the back foot, up against the cage, strikes in his face, using your jab a lot, using leg kicks and stuff like that, safe leg kicks, and not overcommitting to anything big that's going to close the distance off enough where he can grab you, right? So it might mean avoiding some of those like jumping type knees that Hooker likes to throw. The problem with that shit is though, is like, that's what he's good at. So is he going to fall into that tendency during the fight? I kind of think so. And I kind of think the way this fight plays out is that you see Dan Hooker have moments of success where it just kind of ends in the takedown and the crowd goes, you know, like it felt like he was going to do it. And then, there's just this one thing. And when it gets there, he has trouble getting back up, etc. So I've got Islam Makhachev winning this fight by decision. I think Dan Hooker's going to make it tough on him. But I just think that ultimately the wrestling, again, is going to be the difference maker in this one.